What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings as we beat Burnley 1-0 in the final home game of the season. We're here with Rez once again. Big up, Rez. Thanks for coming on today, mate.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. It's a great pleasure to have you. And let's get straight into it with our scores, with Hugo Lloris up first, sevens all round from us. And in my opinion, I mean, he made a good save in the first half. I think it was about half an hour in from Cornet. But apart from that, didn't really have a save to make the whole game. But I was quietly impressed with his kind of commanding from his crosses.
Yeah, I think so. He came out and collected a few crosses really well. But as you say, other than that sort of Cornet shot, he wasn't really called on to come into service. Did his job. And you can't really fault him.
Absolutely. Let's move on to our next player, and that is Patron Sanchez. 8 all round from us. And look, you got to give the guy credit for stepping in as he has done. Limited amount of football. I think he came in. I thought he was imperious at the back. Not much got past him for pretty much the whole day. And also he was up high up the pitch when we did score that goal, getting that penalty as well. So I think Sanchez had a really good display, solid defensively, got involved in a few attacks here and there. Look, his passing ability is left wanting sometimes, but I think from the actual skill of defending, I think he played really well yesterday.
Agreed. Nothing wrong with his defending at all. Expecting him to be able to sort of play like Romero is asking a bit much, but he gave a very, very good account of himself. He was a rock at the back, did his defensive duties, especially after having only played one game in the last 2.5 months, and against our rivals. Yeah, he was definitely one of the best. He was the best of the three centre backs, I think, although the others were good too. So yeah.
All right, let's move on to Eric Dier. Rez gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. And again, I thought it was a really good display from Eric Dier, winning everything in the air that came his way, everything on the floor that came his way as well. Had the passing ability to switch the play out to Sessegnon and Emerson when needed too. So yeah, really good day at the office for Eric Dier again.
I think so as well. It was a solid performance. Nothing outstanding, nothing particularly sort of noteworthy. He did his job, and you know what? For a central defender, that's probably what you would want from them more often than not. So yeah, Dier was fine for me.
Moving on to Ben Davies. Again, Rez gives a 7 and I give an 8. And again, another really good display from Ben Davies. That's 3 top displays, in my opinion, in a row now for Ben Davies on that left-hand side of a back three. And I actually feel that he's growing quite a relationship with Ryan Sessegnon on that side. I feel like they're linking up really well. There was 1 or 2 bad passes in there from Ben Davies, but all in all, I thought his distribution was really good, defensively really good, and more of the same. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I think so. Davies was good. I liked his adventurousness. He got forward a few times, which was good to see. He's been doing that more often recently, which is always good. And yeah, solid.
Let's move on to Emerson Royale. 7s all round from us. I think, yeah, look, that's now 4 good displays from Emerson in a row after everyone. I don't think he had probably more than a 6 out of 10 for pretty much the whole season. And then suddenly he's putting in performance after performance now. He had that shot from about 25, 30 yards that nearly found the top corner, which was a really good save from Nick Pope. I'm not sure if it was actually going in or not, but it looked like it could have been creeping in the top corner there. Defensively on point, as he has been the last couple of games. Going forward, I think that, he still needs to work on his crossing and his passing, but I do think that it is gradually getting better and better and better. So good display again from Emerson.
Yeah, I think so. Again, crossing is a problem. Liked the shot on goal. It was probably his best performance in a Spurs shirt, although starting from the relatively low bar that he has started from, that's still not necessarily enough to sort of say, yeah, he's one to keep. Time will tell with that. We'll see, but yesterday, nothing to complain about. And
I feel like he's growing and adding facets to his game on game now. In this game, I felt like he was doing so much work and like tireless work, trying to be that option in midfield, coming in the middle, which we haven't seen from him in the past. And that's kind of maybe some of the criticism we've had of him, because that's what Matt Doherty was doing really well, right? He was getting up the pitch, and not only just getting up the pitch, but coming inside and creating that extra option in midfield, which we've been lacking since Doherty has gone. So big up Emerson Royale, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Next up, Ryan Sessegnon, my personal man of the match. 8 all round for Sess, and defensively again on point. I think physically he's really growing into a real Premier League player, where, you know, earlier on this season, last season, you would have said that physically he's not just there just yet, but I think he's growing now, and I think that Conte is doing really good work on him on the training pitch to get him up to speed physically, and I think he's a match for any Premier League player now. I really believe that. Going forward, I had a few reservations, because there was a couple of times where he had the opportunity to attack his fullback, and he just checked back. I think maybe a bit of a lack of confidence there. But all in all, going forward, I think he had a good display. His passing ability was on show. He could have, on another day, he gets 2 or 3 assists in that game. And win the game comfortably. So good display from Ryan.
I think so. It's just a tentativeness, I think, that is on show. It seems to me like a player who's not 100% confident in his body at the moment. You can understand that given his injury history over this season and previous seasons. Let's hope that it's just, you know, growing pains, because he is still very young, and as he matures, you know, he becomes more comfortable, stronger in the places where there might be a risk of injury, and we could well have a decent left wing back on our hands if he manages to do that. I would like to see him start to get past his man more, and be more aggressive in that sort of attacking opposition space.
The thing is with him, and the difference between him and Reggie, he's so much more composed in the final third, and he can get the ball in like without that erratic behavior that Reguilon sometimes have. And I also feel like he gets in the positions a lot more than Reguilon as well.
I think so, and that really is Reggie's disappointment for me, is that we thought we were getting, you know, not the finished article, because he was still young, but we were getting someone who was going to develop into something special, and it's just doesn't seem to have panned out. Let's hope it's the opposite with Sessegnon, that, you know, again, we bought him for the promise, and let's hope that this time the promise is delivered on.
All right, let's move on to the midfield, and Rodrigo Bentancur, 7s all round from us. And I felt like he was tirelessly working that middle of the park. He was trying to get the ball moving and ticking along. It seemed like he had a bit of a leadership kind of qualities about him in this game. He was always pointing of players where to go, instructing the midfield and the fullbacks where to be. I would like to see him move the ball a bit quicker than he did, especially against, but I know it's hard against like a low block team that really pack the midfield, but no, good display from Bentancur.
I think so. It would be difficult for him to do that, because, you know, they were just camped in their own half for that first half, and it's, you know, what can you do? There's incisive, and then there's just ridiculous, you know. So he acquitted himself well. He did his job, shielded defence when it was needed, which wasn't often, and just made sure that the ball was being circulated well. So, yeah.
All right, and his partner, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, the Viking. Rez gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I was actually going to give him an 8, but I felt like his passing just let him down a tad on the day. But apart from that, I mean, you could just see how much he wanted it.
Yeah.
You really could. I mean, the guy was energetic, non-stop running, really giving himself for the cause on the weekend. And that's all you can ask for. Even though his passing was a bit iffy, I'm going to let him off on that one because of how much energy and effort he did put into the game.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, we can't ask a player to deliver a certain level of ability, but we can ask them to deliver a certain level of hard work. And he does that all the time.
In abundance.
He did it yesterday. He was everywhere, and he was probably the only player who didn't look all that leggy, because I think he just willed himself to get through it. So yeah.
All right, let's move on to Lucas Moura. 6s all round from us. In a rare start for Lucas. I felt like, it was better in this game for Lucas than it has been maybe in previous weeks. But again, like in the final third, he was left a bit wanting. I felt he started the game a bit slowly, but grew into the game as the game wore on. He started a few moves for us in that second half, ran himself into the ground at times as well. And look, I think that when you're comparing him to Kulu, it's just night and day, unfortunately.
Absolutely. I felt that he did grow into the game, but then faded from it. And towards the end of his time, he just wasn't really all that involved. It was better than we've seen from him recently. I have a lot of affection for him. But yeah, there was nothing really of note per se. So yeah, a 6.
All right, let's move on to Heung-min Son. 6s all round again from us. And look, I think he had our best chances of the game. I felt he was our most threatening attacker of the day, but you could see that he was definitely leggy on the day. That's for sure. I noticed that from about maybe half an hour in, 40 minutes in. You could really see the game on Thursday, maybe catch up with him a little bit. But having said that, he had our best chance of the game and forced Pope into some really good saves. He was threatening at times, and him and Kane and Moura, all of them were being man-marked and triple-marked out of the game. So good display, but against a team where you really need to take your chances. You expect them to take the chances, but Pope made unbelievable saves.
Yeah, didn't he just? Yeah. Sonny's knackered, in my view. Or he certainly was yesterday. I've seen him both live and on TV really blowing quite soon into a game. It's perfectly understandable. He has been overused this season in the same way that Kane has as well. It just didn't come off for him yesterday. The intent was there, the will was there. I never questioned his commitment. It just wasn't. It just didn't come about, and it's not a judgment of how good a player he was. It's just what happened. What he delivered was 6 because of circumstance. So yeah.
All right, and last of the starting 11, Harry Kane. Rez gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. Again, I felt like he struggled to get into the game. He did have a few chances where maybe you're thinking a guy of Harry Kane's quality does do better in those situations. But in the pressure moment at the end of the first half, steps up to take that penalty, and the goalkeeper, Pope, did not move for that penalty. It was an absolutely stunning penalty, hits the side netting and wins us the game, ultimately. So you got to say big up for taking that penalty. But it was a hard game for him. I felt he was a bit leggy as well, and he was being, like I said before, double and triple marked for pretty much the whole game.
Indeed. I mean, for the sort of performance he put in, I would have put a 6. The reason I gave him a 7 was because that was his 22nd consecutive penalty scored. Wow. And I think that's noteworthy. So for that reason, I gave him the 7. But yeah, look, even the best players in the world will have times where if they're being marked in the way that they are by Burnley, they're not going to be able to have that much of an effect on the game. And it was the same day. We got what we needed by playing, dirty, being rough, getting down with Burnley, playing the way that they did, and that's all you can really ask for.
Absolutely. Last but not least, we're going to go to the manager, Antonio Conte. Rez gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. And with a 48-hour turnover from the Arsenal game to this game, that can't be understated how much of a good job we did to get the 3 points on the weekend. It might have not been pretty at times, but that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to win ugly, and you just got to get the job done, especially at this stage of the season. To bring him to, turn around of players like Emerson Royale, Ryan Sessegnon, who've completely done 360 this season. Sanchez as well, who's come in out of obscurity to come in and performances like that. Højbjerg and Bentancur, who've been so crucial to the cause as well. You can really see the team are fighting all on the same page at the moment. And that is all down to the manager. That is all down to Antonio Conte. He's getting us over the line in games where maybe earlier on the season in a game like this, we probably wouldn't have got over the line. So I think the way he's setting us up, he's making us really hard to beat. Our defensive nous is completely night and day to what it was earlier on the season. And to be honest, as much as it was only 1-0, I think we won that game comfortably, because another day we scored 3 or 4 goals that day in a game like that.
Absolutely. No, and getting wins right now from this threadbare. I mean, it's see-through how thin the squad is. Really is the work of a master manager. Someone who can really motivate his team and get them to commit, because they must be absolutely shattered right now. Doing that for me is the sign of a great manager, and that's what Conte is.
All right, so that is our player ratings. Close eye on the Newcastle-Arsenal game tonight.
Indeed.
So we're all Newcastle fans tonight. Away the lads. 1 more game left. The final push in the final week of the season. Rez, thank you so much for coming on today.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you guys very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.